Hello, my name is Andrew Mills, and today I will be presenting on special use airspace. Special use airspace is described in the Aeronautical Information Manual, Chapter 3, Section 4. It is defined as an area wherein certain activities are constrained because of their nature, or certain limitations are imposed upon aircraft operations because of those said activities. There are 7 types of special use airspace, 2 that are regulatory in nature. Those are found in 14 CFR Part 73. These are prohibited and restricted areas. And then there are 5 that are non-regulatory. They are warning, military operation, alert, controlled firing, and national security areas. As you can see, they're all depicted in a different way on an aeronautical chart, with the exception of controlled firing areas. And the reason they're not depicted I'll get to a little later on. The blue line with the hash marks are used to denote the first 3. The magenta line with the hash marks are used to denote military operation and alert areas. And then the thick dashed magenta lines used to denote the national security areas. So to get in a little more detail with the regulatory special use airspace, we have the prohibited special use airspace. And the reason why aircraft would be prohibited from a prohibited airspace would be reasons of national welfare or security. And that's denoted on a sectional with the letter P followed by numbers. And a couple examples of a prohibited airspace would be Camp David and the National Mall in Washington, D.C., where the White House and Congress are located. Moving on, we have restricted areas, and they are denoted on a sectional using the letter R followed by numbers. And they often include areas of unusual or invisible hazards, such as aerial gunnery, missile launches, or artillery firing. And while VFR flight's not recommended, it's not technically prohibited in these areas. It's just you're supposed to exercise extreme caution. And IFR flights are routed around restricted areas by ATC. So that should give you an idea of how much caution is involved. Moving on to the non-regulatory special use airspace, we have warning areas. Similar to restricted areas, warning areas extend from 3 nautical miles off the U.S. coast outwards and often contain unusual activities. U.S. does not have full jurisdiction over these areas, so that's why it's basically a caution area where VFR pilots are just supposed to maintain visual separation from other aircraft and note there might be some unusual activities, so just remain vigilant. As far as IFR flights, though, they can also proceed through these areas as long as they are in contact with the controlling agency. Moving on, we have military operation areas. They can be active or non-active. They're areas of intense concentration of military training activities. There are no limitations on VFR flight through an active military operation area. However, you are supposed to maintain visual separation from all other traffic. And for IFR flight, if it's an active military operation area, they're typically routed around it, unless separation can be guaranteed by the controlling agency. Moving on, we have an alert area, which is simply an area of high volume of pilot training. And basically, there's no limitations on flying through an alert area. You're just supposed to exercise caution and maintain visual separation from other aircraft. Next, we have a controlled firing area, which is the only special use airspace not noted on a aeronautical chart. And the reason that being is there are aerial and ground-based spotters that are responsible for seeing your aircraft and ceasing all firing activities on the ground until you've vacated the area. So, not necessarily on the pilot to look out for these. And last, we have national security areas, which they seem to be the rarest special use airspace that I could find. They're basically areas of national security where pilots are discouraged from flying over or through. And the reason, the only one I could find was the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in East Tennessee. And that's, of course, denoted by the thick dashed magenta line. That about sums it up. Today, I covered special use airspace. Once again, I'm Andrew Mills. Thank you for watching.